Coming out of high school, there are always a lot of five-star recruits that many people think are going to become NBA stars. But a lot of them don't end up becoming the player you thought they would. So today, we're going to look at some five-star recruit who ended up not being very good. When talking about these players, you have to mention the makers, Thon Maker and Makur Maker. Back in 2016, Thon Maker was ranked as the 10th best player in the country and had offers from Duke, Kentucky, and Kansas. But instead of going to college, he ended up skipping college and going to the NBA draft. And this ended up not being a good decision because Thon Maker needed time to develop, but he skipped college and never was able to fulfill his potential because over his 5 seasons, Thon Maker averaged 4 points and 2 rebounds and never really had a solid role in the NBA, and he now plays overseas. Now Thon's cousin, Makur Maker, also never lived up to his potential because back in 2020, he was ranked 18th in his draft class, and instead of going to Kentucky or Kansas, he went to play at Howard. He ended up having injuries and only playing 2 games where he averaged 11 points and 6 rebounds. After this season, he ended up playing for the Sydney Kings and then went undrafted in the 2022 NBA draft. And since then, he's been playing in the G League. So both Maker cousins never really fulfilled their talent and definitely could have benefited from going to a better college program for a year. Back in 2016, another player that was highly rated was Harry Giles, who was ranked 2nd in the country, ahead of Jason Tatum. He ended up going to Duke and struggled to stay on the court and averaged 3 points and 3 rebounds in the 26 games he played. After this, he ended up getting drafted 20th by the Kings, and over his next couple seasons, he averaged 5 points and 3 rebounds, and last played in the NBA in 2020. And unfortunately for Harry Giles, he struggled with injuries, which I think ended up being the downfall of his career. Now point guard Trevian Duval was a 5-star recruit and ranked 6th in his class back in 2017, and many people thought he was a future NBA star. But in his freshman season, he averaged 10 points and 5 rebounds. The one problem with Duval was his lack of shooting, since he only shot 29% from three-point range. Duval ended up entering the draft, even though he probably shouldn't have, and he went undrafted, and he played 1 season in the NBA with the Milwaukee Bucks and played his last couple years in the G League. So a player who once looked like an NBA star is now mainly a G League player and still struggled to shoot well consistently. Back in 2019, point guard Nico Mannion had a lot of hype. He was a 5-star recruit and ranked 14 spots ahead of future NBA point guard LaMelo Ball. Nico Mannion went to Arizona for a year, where he averaged 14 points and 5 assists. He then entered the NBA draft and was drafted in the 2nd round. He ended up playing 1 year for the Golden State Warriors and then ended up going to play in the EuroLeague and hasn't returned to the NBA. But after looking at some of these NBA recruits, it seems as if some of the main reasons for their fall-off is due to injuries or some of them not spending enough time in college. I hope you enjoyed our video hearing about 5-star recruits who didn't live up to the hype. Subscribe to our channel for more videos like this.